Most people have heard of Walter Burley Griffin. I mean, he is the man that this lake is named after. However, beyond knowing that he designed Canberra, most people don't really know that much about him or his wife, Marion Mahony Griffin, Canberra's co-designer and one of the world's first female architects.
Marion Mahony Griffin was born Marion Mahony in February 1871 in Chicago, Illinois. The daughter of a journalist and a schoolteacher, Marion became fascinated with architecture after seeing the landscape around her vanish under suburban development and from the influence of her first cousin, Dwight Perkins, an architect himself. She decided to pursue it as a career, and in 1894 she graduated from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology as one of the first women to ever hold an architecture degree. After working with a number of architects, Marion would become the first employee of renowned architect Frank Lloyd Wright. It was here, while working in Wright's offices, that Marion met Walter Burley Griffin. The two of them began a professional relationship that later blossomed into a romantic one, and in 1911 the two of them got married. Marion Mahony was now Marion Mahony Griffin.
Meanwhile, over here in Australia, trouble was brewing. The country had recently become, well, a country, going from a series of colonies to one united nation. However, there was some dispute as to where the nation's capital would be, with both Sydney and Melbourne vying for the honour.
Instead, the federal government proposed a compromise, a new city built halfway between Sydney and Melbourne. An area called the Molonglo Valley was chosen, but now the government faced a new dilemma. What would this new city be? Who would design the ideal capital? So they did what any self-respecting government would do. They held a competition. 137 contestants entered the Federal Capital Design Competition of 1912, including a recently married husband and wife team from Chicago. That was Marion and Walter, in case that wasn't obvious. Their designs took the judges by storm, and soon after they were officially handed the position of Canberra's designers.
Marion and Walter were chosen in part because their design worked with the valley's landscape. They envisioned a series of circles and rectangles that would fit together and be part of the surrounding environment.
Marion painted extensive watercolour renditions of their designs, envisioning how the city would look. When asked about their designs, Walter, who was always the more public figure of the two, said that, "I have planned a city that is not like any other city in the world. I have planned it not in a way that I expected any government authorities in the world would accept. I have planned an ideal city, a city that meets my ideal of the city of the future."
It is important to note at this point that while Walter's name was the one on the majority of the designs, he never hesitated to credit Marion with doing a large portion of the work. So what of the city? Did Marion and Walter's plans come to fruition?
In 1920, Walter would be forced to step down as chief architect of Canberra after a number of disputes with government bureaucrats, leaving a number of the plans for the city unfulfilled. Numerous buildings that Marion and Walter had designed were never built, including an arboretum and a Capitol building that was supposed to be where Parliament House now stands. Other plans included a tram system, something that is only now becoming a reality with the light rail project currently underway.
And what of the Griffins? Well, they moved on and continued working. Walter died in India in 1937, whilst Marion lived another 24 years and died back home in Chicago in 1961. It's only now, almost 100 years after she did the bulk of her work, that she's actually being recognised for it. However, in the story of Canberra's creation, it seems that her legacy is still overshadowed by Walter's. I mean, after all, he is the one that got the lake named after him.